All right, we are connected for the midweek edition of the news update. And as always, looking forward to sharing my 2 cents on a variety of subject matter and of course checking in and seeing what's on yours. Okay, so yeah, interesting, a lot of interesting developments. Of course, silver, gold, you name it, pick your poison, whatever you want to talk about. Um, but one problem that I have that I want to touch on is the fact that it's bad. One of the United States Mint, which is the authorized issuer of the United States coinage, decides to freeze, pause, hold without warning because they too can't discover the price of silver. Ain't that something? But anyway, we're going to talk about that a lot more. So for those who are plugging in, let me know where you're watching from. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting morning, my good people. And so let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if I'm flowing on all streams and all cylinders. And as always, for those who are checking in with me, I appreciate all the feedback as well as just the insights that have been provided. I also got some updates. And as I mentioned, for those who, depending on where you're at in the world, feel free to let me know what the prices are, what the circumstances is like, what the geopolitical scene like in your neck of the woods, just because everybody's experiencing something different from a different perspective, as well as a different level of intensity. But we're all on this planet together, experiencing something of something just very similar in nature. So it's gonna be interesting. So before I move forward, let me just for my good people, wherever you at, it's good 36 degrees in Detroit. And I went to the gym, worked out, came outside, and it was snowing. I'm like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? I thought we was gonna be cool with that for a minute. But once again, as you can see here, it's supposed to snow all the rest of the week. So boo-hoo. But boo-hoo me. Let me know where you're watching from. If it's warm and sunny, then definitely, rub it in a little bit in the comment section or in the chat. Okay, for those who might be new, you never know. I got to make sure I continue to remind people the importance of educating themselves. And so, once again, I want to take a minute and thank everybody that have shared their heartfelt gratitude for the efforts put in throughout the years to try to provide education and keep everybody plugged in. And so, I do read the chats and I share it when I can. But other than that, believe me, you're right. I recognize you and I thank you for the support. And so, support meaning just a comment in the chat section, definitely sharing this information to other people, and also, whatever it takes time, energy, and effort. So, contributions. Once again, I never say no. If you want to bless me monetarily, you know what I'm saying. But for those that are praying for me as well, appreciate you, man. Thank you. I do also pray for the community as well because it's important to me. But let's keep it moving. For those who might be new, you never know. If you have not, as of yet, taking the Silver IQ quiz, links in the description. Check it out. 15 quick questions. Open up to a whole nother world of monetary literacy, which unfortunately 99.99% of people do not have. But if you plugged in, then you are awake and aware, and you're better off than the majority because you yourself have something that is sound, true, and tested. Okay, let's get into it. Let's not waste any more time, my good people. And if you have not, as of yet, hit that thumbs up button, show your support for the channel, and make sure you subscribe, hit that bell or check mark wherever you're watching from. We will go from there. I got people checking in from Ireland. I got Callie in the building. Appreciate you, man. Another thing, uh, we have viewers from all over the world, thank God, and it's good to get a chance to see what's happening in their neck of the woods. And it got me thinking about something, and I'm gonna touch on in a minute. But one of the community members in Serbia checked in, and he referenced the USD conversion, or the out of the Serbian currency into the USD, they're paying between $130 and to $160 for their silver rounds, I assume. But I saw 130 to 160. I'm like, whoa, okay. So, and it made me think, like, okay, only in the U.S. and in, for the most part, developed G7 nations do we have access to gold and silver from from an investment standpoint as well as a numismatic standpoint. We have a variety of options, but a lot of nations around the world, whether it be second world, third world, whatever, they don't have the options to actually go to a store or go online and actually purchase, or, as I say, redeem these notes for real tangible gold and silver. And so it's those nations that are more than likely, as the retail FOMO kicks in, they're scrambling trying to get physical, but because they can't go to pawn shops or coin shops on the corner, I assume it's in Serbia. I know for a fact in Argentina, And I remember, this is a little side note, but I remember when I lived in Chile, in Santiago, going to a electronics store, which is like a pawn shop, and I remember seeing silver eagles in the little glass case when I was younger. And I was like, and I don't remember the exact price, but I know they were cheaper. I want to say like $5 or $6. This, early 2000s. So it was very cheap. And I'm like, man, I should get me some. And I realized, going back in my memories, that was my first encounter with American silver eagles when I was in another country. And I regret not buying them because I was intrigued by them, and I actually went home and went online and did some research about them, and realized that they were cheaper there. And I'm like, dang. But anyway, that was in Chile. Santiago is a much bigger metropolis. It's kind of like, little mini New York. But anyway, so my whole point is, a lot of European countries, may not have access to online dealers as plentiful, as well as coin shops and bullion stores. So prices in those regions are going to be a lot higher because there is a newfound demand, more than likely. So that's just something there. So okay, so what I'm gonna touch on, the U.S. Mint. That was the most shocking story I saw, because I kid you not, I saw something on X about the U.S. Silver Eagles being the cheapest on the U.S. Mint.gov site. And so I went on the site, had it open on my screen. I saw at the time it was like $90, and the whole page had options. And I'm like, man, I should buy some. I should buy some. And I'm like, man, I may not even get them. Like, it's good to say that they're not even there. They just haven't updated the page. And sure enough, within a couple of hours, I scroll back online and I see a letter went out, and they paused without warning. And then I went back to the page, refreshed the page, and it said not available. I'm like, dang. So maybe if I would have, could have, should have, who knows? But I don't want to get stuck. I don't want to get stuck with getting the email saying, sorry, due to extreme demand, we won't be able to ship your coins until, next year or something like that. I'm like, no. But point of case is, United States Mint are supposed to be able to have silver on demand to send to the American people when they want them. So we're entering into some type of really problematic territory, because United States Mint is the actual coiner of our money. Federal Reserve is, of course, the Fed is the debt-based version of our currency. That was hijacked by special interests and bank conglomerates and cartels and everything like that. But the U.S. Mint is supposed to be able to put silver and gold in people's hands when they want it. But it's a supply issue, so they don't have it. Okay, so let's just start off from the beginning, people. Let me just check in. So as of right now, let's just get this on the screen here. So we have silver 91.72, 91.76. I'm sorry, I was just, correct me. And I saw some other places where it got up to like 92. And so, oh, I gotta answer this call. No, I'm not answering the call. Give me a second. I hate when I'm okay. I'll mute that. Okay, so hopefully it's not a problem. But anyway, so we got 91.76, then we got 4,600 gold, all time high territory. But that's really not of the most importance. It's more so about the gold to silver ratio. And as I always want to continue to mention, look at this thing on the screen right here. Get myself out the way here. Here we go, people. This is where it gets to me the most interesting, because we're at 50. We're at 50 right now. 50 to 1. 50 to 1 definitely is good for the holders of silver, because it basically just helps us value our silver in relative to gold in ratio terms a lot a lot more realistically. But yet we got a long way to drop before we get to something that is really, really systemic in nature. But 50 is definitely nothing to scoff at, because definitely you better believe everybody and their mother's paying attention to that, including the bullion banks. Okay, so let's get a couple other things here. Let me get my screen going here. Man, I got too many tabs open. Bear with me, people. I apologize. Okay, so what I want to touch on, let's just jump right into it. So here on the screen, when I get back here, as you can see, I'm going to shrink myself some so you can see what I see. So this is the price setting mechanism. It says the Shanghai silver's price benchmark, and it closed at 101.54. And as you can see here, the blue line is Shanghai and the gray line is USD price. And there's a big difference there, people. I mean, big. It's to the point where it's an anomaly that exposes everything the West has been trying to accomplish forever, is that they are not able to and do not want to have silver in particular rise to the occasion. But then again, obviously China has a different game plan. And the question is right now, who's going to win? And at this current moment, as you can see on the screen here, when it's $101 converted over from renminbi to dollars, and then in the Western Hemisphere is 90-30, that's $11.22 difference. And as I mentioned from the short I put out, is that because of the export window in Asia being closed, literally, we're going to witness a real contagion event like we've never witnessed the moment the vaults run dry. And what do I mean? I'm about to show you in a minute. Because all this price action that we're seeing now is driven by the West. And because the West has held to their agreement as of now, meaning that they have allowed silver to leave their vaults physical. Whereas in the Western Hemisphere, it's been all paper, and they're trying to scramble to get physical, and all the margin calls that everybody and their mama who has anything to do with silver is raising the margins because they got to shake out weak hands because the silver drain is real. And so once the Shanghai vaults, as they continue to go towards zero or empty, I doubt they let them go empty, because that means they're too going to default if they can't deliver. And if they can't deliver, the price we're looking at now will have to double or triple, because there will be silver available, but it's just going to come at a much, much, much higher cost. And what am I referring to? Simple. Let me just scroll down some. So let me give it to you right here. So here we have on the screen the China silver vaults at the Shanghai Futures Exchange. And so if you look at the continual down trajectory of the physical vault silver stored, it's kind of getting low, people. And so right underneath me here, you see it dip to its lowest, and then they obviously came up with a new stash right here. And then look where it's at now. And so this is the futures exchange. And so it is allowed to settle in physical. Then you actually go to the gold exchange, the silver vaults themselves. And as you can see here, it's running kind of low. And my suspicion is that if we get to the point where the primary drivers of this silver euphemism, trying to come up with some big words, being China, if they are not able to deliver because there's nothing there, then what does the world do? Where would the silver come from? And so clearly, there will be a seal of silver available. It's just it has to come at a much higher cost. Meaning, China's 101 is small. The U.S. is $90 is bogus. So I can see something in line with higher 3-digit silver for starters. And then as a result of that, there'll be people who then pour back silver physical, because a lot of people might be cashing out, if you want to use that term. But here's something else to consider as well. Let me share this with you. So this is something from last week that I thought was appropriate, because this plays into how we can get to that higher 3-figure area. So it says Bank of America bold call, silver price may hit 135 to 309. So if Shanghai runs dry, or they decide to renege on their promises to deliver, mimicking what happens in the Western Hemisphere, then it'll be easy to see 309. And so with 309, then there will be people, institutions, and a lot of people who are like, okay, let me just go ahead and give some of that back because I have tonnage. And think about this, the largest holders of physical silver that we know of is JP Morgan. So think about their 400-something million ounces that they have and the long positions that they're holding on to. Think about how much richer Jamie Dimon and his banking buddies get, to where all the other big banks is sitting heavy. Think about how much they'll profit off this as well, way more than the average Joe and Jay. And then you have to ask yourself, what is Uncle Sam going to do? How will those 3-letter agencies, that primary 3-letter agency, try to come after what they consider to be capital gains? This is when it gets ugly. This is when it gets tricky, because, yeah, I got a lot of thoughts and opinions, but I'm going to keep it to myself. But let me get into some other things. So primary subject matter, more than likely what you came for, was centered around this. So as I mentioned, for those who might have came in late, I start off by talking about me having my screen open, and I'm gonna get to it in a second. But let me just give you some background here. So let me shrink myself so I get myself out the way. Here we got. This came out yesterday. It says U.S. Mint suspends all sales of numismatic products. No more sales until they know how much to raise the prices. Buckle up. This is going to get a lot crazier. This was a email a subscriber received. And so let me just thumb through this. It says, dear value customer, to maintain transparency and a positive customer experience, we are reaching out to share an important update. Due to metal costs, pricing adjustments are being evaluated across all numismatic products. In addition, rapidly rising silver prices may result in silver numismatic products being temporarily removed from sale while pricing is updated. We are working expeditiously to update pricing in order to maintain product availability. However, we want to communicate in advance in case you notice any changes on the United States Mint site. Once pricing has been updated, we will notify you for the most current products, pricing, whatever. Okay, so as I mentioned, I saw something that somebody mentioned that, oh man, U.S. Mint got the cheapest prices. I'm like, cool, let me go on there. And then I go on the page and literally, so this is, I refreshed the page like a dummy because I was just trying to see if that was real. And when I went to the page initially, this is just American Eagles. When I went to the page originally, it was $90. It said $90 on average. Most of them $90, give or take. And they were available. But now, as you can see here, not available. And so not just numismatic, but it looks like any silver in general is not available. And so here we have subscription limited, but once again, it says not available. So as you saw just a moment ago, I clicked the screen, it had a price to it and everything. Look at this. Where'd it go? So you guys saw what I saw. It had a price and it made it appear as if it was available until I clicked on it. Then it said not available. So if the United States Mint, which is the official issuer of the United States coinage, doesn't sell silver, that's a problem because they have the silver there. Problem is, they have been told by the United States Treasury, halt sales because whatever you let go today at that price will not be the price next week. So because of this, the United States Mint will not be selling silver anytime soon because we will not have a true benchmark to base the price upon as we get tighter. And the United States government, even though they're supposed to, is like by law, they're supposed to always have readily available silver for sale when the American citizen wants silver. But as you can tell, because we're in the reset, we're in the end game of all this monetary manipulation, they don't want to let go of their hoard when they can't actually profit off of it. Because at any amount they let it go at, they automatically going to lose the moment somebody refreshes the page because there's no way of telling what the real price is. The price of silver is whatever you pay when you check out. That will always be the case from here on out. And it's going to change. And at some point, a lot of businesses are going to go out of, a lot of retail, coin shops, dealers, a lot of people online especially going to go out of business. And so that's just something to be aware of. Okay. But I'm sure you guys are aware of that. And as always, this is going to be a very, 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 very interesting chain of events that unfold. Okay, so let's get into some other things here. I have more. I always bookmark things that tickle my fancy just because I want to make sure that I keep people plugged in. And one of the things, so we got the Supreme Court situation. So that's just something that's new. I'll talk about that in a minute. And what I want to highlight is we had good old Uncle Donnie in the good old state of Michigan yesterday. And look, this dude flicking off the MAGA people. He's flicking off my man. Like the guy called him a pedophile protector. And he's like, he gave him the F you out loud. Then look at that. You go out there, was he about to point? And then he gave him the middle finger. Thinking about something. So instead of doing what he promised, this guy's distracting us with all types of things. So I thought this was interesting because, you get the finger, and more than likely that person might just be a disgruntled MAGA person, or he could have been an extremely liberal left and just, was pro Harris and just unhappy. But regardless of political affiliation, he exposed one thing: we still ain't got no arrests. And like I said before, I've been saying this for years. So for you, if you've been around for years, I've been saying this before. He didn't prosecute Hillary or do any type of anything extra for Hillary. That's when I knew that it was all hot air. And then he get a second term, and once again, Pam Bondi is like, what, 3 weeks overdue? They keep missing the deadline to put out the, I guess, unredacted. Or so they probably literally are creating new files right now to put out. And like I said before, they're gonna have puppets. All types of puppets are gonna be on there. People who nobody cares about, but people who happen to just be at the low totem point, low part of the food chain, they're gonna take the rap. You ain't gonna hear no new names. Ain't nobody going to jail. No handcuffs. It's gonna be a big distraction if something comes out that's not supposed to come out. That's my opinion. Okay, but it doesn't stop there. You gotta love it. Let me give you some more here. Let me get back here. I got all types of things here. So I out of curiosity, given this U.S. Mint thing, to me, this is the last straw because I expect the Federal Reserve and monetary manipulation and fiscal policy to continue to clash. Deficits continue to be a problem, all that good stuff. But when the United States Mint stop selling silver, that means all American Silver Eagles at this current moment, so whatever 06s are out, might be the last coinage of U.S. silver. Mark my words. Because moving forward, it will not be to the advantage of the United States Mint to honor their responsibility to the American people, because in the midst of a reset, all rule of law will be off. They'd already, the government don't abide by the Constitution anyway. But so literally 2006 might be the last year we see American Silver Eagles. And then they'll come out with some type of reason why, whatever. But once again, these are just all hypotheticals. I hope I'm lying. I hope I'm not telling the truth. Not telling the truth, but I hope this doesn't come to fruition. But you get my drift. Don't be surprised if it does. But out of curiosity, okay, so how does this really impact, or what does this really mean? So I said, just ask the large language model a simple question. Why did the U.S. Mint suspend all numismatic product sales? And then it says here, the U.S. Mint suspended sales of silver numismatic products because recent record spikes in silver prices made it unable to price those products accurately in real time, forcing a temporary halt while prices are recalculated. So once again, they couldn't discover the price, so it's supposed to be temporary, but I mark my word, it won't be temporary. It says, let me get this out of here. Immediate state of reason, whatever. It says market conditions behind the halt. Silver has surged to all-time highs, $80 to $90, creating extreme volatility and breaking the usual relationship between metal costs and product pricing grids. They broke the grid. It says dealers have been reporting American Silver Eagle trading near or above $100 per coin, implying that the bullion products in the market are at or above the Mint's own numismatic pricing, which is not sustainable for ongoing sales. So because it's not for sustainable, they will not be selling American Silver Eagles again. Numismatic products typically used fixed or tiered price schedules, which are not designed to update minute by minute in rapidly moving markets. So the Mint risk either selling at a loss or constantly repricing. So because of the rapidly moving market, the Mint don't want to sell at a loss or or having to constantly reprice. So imagine the United States Mint's landing page was never set up to be like a real-time market-dependent price setting for their products. And so literally, like on this page here, you don't even see the price of silver or gold because it was always capped at what the spot price was, and which was always manipulated. And so prior to now, silver and gold used to just be things that people would hold for numismatic value. Majority of people at this current point after 1971, or more importantly, 74, when it became legal tender, not when that would be, but when it became something that the people can hold in reference to gold, people thought that gold and silver is just a commodity, not money. So that's a good reason why you don't see the gold and silver price here to keep up with real market date, because they never had to until now. And right when they need to, they're not going to be selling silver or gold no more. Watch. Mark my words. Okay. So let me get to some other things here. Let's get to some updated stuff, 8 updated stories in real time. And so this is something that lets you know the real state of the economy. This is a current situation from Kobayashi letter. It says Stocks at record highs, gold at record highs, silver at record highs, home prices at record high, copper at record highs, platinum at record highs, money market funds at record highs, U.S. debt at record highs, deficit spend at record highs, and house debt at record high. Get you winded. It says when everything hits a record high at the same exact time, it's not a coincidence. It's because fiat currencies are depreciating rapidly, and 2.5 million people saw that, and that's just the start. That's just the start. So let me give you some more. Let me give you some more. So I want to touch on real quick. Let me just check and find out what the pulse is as far as the markets because of the so-called can kicking. And so I refresh the screen and see what the S&P is doing. And so as of right now, the Magnificent Seven is looking mighty red, and everything hedges on NVIDIA remaining the primary supplier of every chip in the world, it seems. So yes, the market didn't respond too well to this whole terror situation because of the uncertainty, which leads to volatility. And speaking of which, while this is what a portfolio is heavily consists of, because we've been steered into paper products and the illusion of owning shares of companies that are PE ratios that are to the stratosphere. So none of the real valuations of these companies are real. They're all been juiced with QE and everything else. But one thing that separates this chart here from this particular chart here, let me get on the screen here, is something that obviously the world is recognizing. And so when you have the most highly sought after monetary mediums being first and second out of all the top assets by market cap, it is no coincidence that we are witnessing some very interesting events. Gold and silver is number 1 and 2. And in all my years of watching and paying attention, I have never seen gold and silver at 1 and 2. You know why? Because it's never happened before. And the fact that on this chart, they call this an asset. Gold and silver is not an asset. It is the standard. They are the benchmark for all the other paper and digital byproducts that we would then call assets. Gold and silver, to me, is a monetary medium. They are money. And so literally they are constant. They never change. But the way that they price them always changes. And of course, Bitcoin is number 8 is dropped down, and I imagine the maxis are going, 194 trillion, 97,000. So clearly, Bitcoin is responding favorably. So I know my X is booming right now with everybody saying, "This is it. Here it comes. Here comes the big print. It's about to go wide. It's about to go through the roof," which it probably is. Like I always said before, anything that is sought after by investors is going to go through the roof because there's so much currency sloshing around, and not just USD terms. You're going to have the same amount of euros, same amount of pesos, same amount of pick it currency. They about to print to try to prop up. And man, think about all that paper and digits. Like, what would it mean on a screen if everybody becomes a millionaire in nominal terms, but yet your purchasing power basically has your currency. I got some props here. Not props here. Yeah, some props here. So here I got all these units here. You got, what are these? These are 5,000 Venezuelan Bolivar, 1,000. This is what happens when they print too much and nobody wants it. When people find out this is the problem, this is when you can buy these on the internet because they're in the streets, and people make more money selling them to foreigners than they do actually using them. So that's why it's a big difference between those paper notes and of course these paper notes right here. So right here in my hand, this is a full set. This is probably like what, 2,000, 3,000, about 4,000. I don't know how much this is. Anyway, but in 24 karat gold, so big difference. Big difference. But anyway, yeah, this is what we at, man. This is some interesting times, good people. Interesting times, but it's just the beginning. And it's going to get even more interesting as we go along. And yeah, so I still anticipate some event. Something's going to break. Something that's already broken. There will be an event. There will be a bomb that drops. There will be something that will cause more chaos, more turbulence, and the world's going to be turned inside out like it always is. Satan is not done. He's trying to steal, kill, and destroy. He his time is limited. So, yeah, we just haven't been caught in the middle of it. But good Lord is on the throne, so it's going to be all right. All right, good people. That's all I got for today. I got to make some moves. And as always, appreciate everybody for blessing me with your presence and time. If you have not, hit that thumbs up button or the check mark. Show some love for the channel. And I appreciate you, man, for taking time with me, and drop thoughts, ideas, comments, and things like that in the chat if you watch the replay. And we will make it go, make it work for